Told you. Told you.
Cream! Stop!
No, bro.
Imagine being shot by someone you once trusted in the most intimate way, a police sergeant sworn to protect you. This is the story of a secret affair that ended in a hail of bullets. The official story and the truth are two different things, and you deserve to know. So, if you're ready for a case that will make you question everything, hit like, subscribe to CrimeLab Report, and click that bell icon. You won't want to miss what we uncover. To understand this, we need to look at the two people at the heart of it. On one side was Sergeant Cheryl Clark. She was a married woman with a badge, a uniform, and the public's trust. She looked like she had it all together. But secretly, she was involved with Clevean Lambert, a man described as an ex-convict. Their worlds were complete opposites. Law enforcement and a life past the law. This was a relationship built on secrets, and secrets have a way of turning toxic. The situation exploded when Clevean, according to reports, tried to end the affair. The rejection was apparently something Sergeant Clark could not handle. So, while on duty, she used her authority to lure him to a police station parking lot, a place that should mean safety. But that night, it became a crime scene. What started as a confrontation ended with her shooting him. Not just once or twice, but reports say 8 times as he tried to flee. Now here is the twist that changes everything. The official police report claimed self-defense, saying Clevean attacked her and went for her gun. But then, the body camera footage surfaced. Those who have seen it say it tells a completely different story, one that contradicts her account and shows a much more aggressive, calculated shooting. This makes you wonder, doesn't it? What happens when a person's personal life shatters their professional duty? And what does it mean for justice when the official story is challenged by its own evidence? We've only just begun. To get the full picture, I will be playing you the actual video of what happened. But that's coming up next.
Stupid ass bitch. I tried to tell your ass a long time ago. Oh my God. Stupid fucking bitch. I tried to tell you. No, stupid bitch. Come here.
Cream! Stop!
No,
I'm yours!
you not me!
You can fuck me right. You can fuck me right now.
I can right now?
Yes!
Show me.
Okay.
Show me. Prove
Let's
it to me.
go.
Prove it to me.
Let's go.
Take your hand off the gun.
I will.
Take your hand off the gun.
But you have to pull my down.
Okay, take your hand off the
Stop!
gun. Take your hand off the gun.
Kareem, stop. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't take your hand off the gun, you is going to get shot by this.
Parking lot! Stop!
Told you. Told you.
Kareem, stop!
No, bro.
Parking lot! Employee parking lot! Help! Subject going towards the exit out of Georgia State. Gonna be a tan Suburban.
So, we left off with the shocking gunshots in the parking lot. But what happened in the immediate aftermath is where this case splits into two completely different realities. One was the story told by the official report, and the other was the story told by the evidence. And figuring out which one to believe is the real mystery here. First, let's talk about the official version, the one that was initially put forward. In the moments after the shooting, Sergeant Cheryl Clark was injured. She had bruises and cuts on her face. Her story was one of self-defense, a narrative the police report would later solidify. She claimed that Clevean Lambert had attacked her. She said that during their struggle, he went for her service weapon, and in a fight for her life, she had no choice but to fire her gun. It's a story we've heard before in police-involved shootings. It's a powerful and legally protected defense. It paints a picture of an officer making a split-second decision to survive. For a while, this was the only story the public knew. It's easy to understand why people will believe it. A police officer attacked, defending herself. It fits a certain script we're conditioned to accept. But then, a counter-narrative began to emerge, piece by piece, from people who claimed to have knowledge of the investigation, or from those who had seen the one piece of evidence that could not lie, the body camera footage. Now, I want you to imagine this with me. The body cam is supposed to be the unbiased witness. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have a badge to protect. It just records what is in front of it. And what it allegedly showed was a sequence of events that directly contradicted Cheryl Clark's account. It wasn't just a little different. It was fundamentally opposite. Sources who describe the footage say it shows Clark as the clear aggressor. It shows her arguing with Lambert. And then, as he turns to flee, as he is trying to get away from her, she opens fire. He was shot in the back multiple times. This is a critical detail. It's very difficult to argue self-defense against someone who is running away from you. The footage, according to these accounts, showed no desperate struggle for a gun. It showed a man trying to escape and a police officer shooting him down. This is the moment the case turned from a tragic shooting into a potential cover-up. This creates a huge problem for the internal affairs investigators. They now have two conflicting stories. One from a fellow officer, a sergeant, a trusted member of their own family, and another from a silent, unbiased piece of technology. Who do you believe? The human with vested interest in the outcome, or the machine that simply recorded the facts? This is the core conflict of our story, and it's a conflict that plays out in police departments across the country every single day. The blue wall of silence versus the relentless eye of technology. So, the investigation churned on. Cheryl Clark was likely placed on administrative leave, which is standard procedure. But during this time, the pressure was building. The public wasn't aware of the footage yet. But within the department, people knew. They knew there was a problem. They knew the official story was crumbling. Clevean Lambert, meanwhile, was recovering from his injuries. Imagine being in his position. You've been shot 8 times by someone you were intimately involved with, and the official record says you are the one who attacked her. The psychological toll of that must have been immense. He was fighting for his physical life and then had to fight for his reputation to prove that he wasn't the aggressor. This leads us to the first major consequence. The body camera footage was so damning, so contradictory to the self-defense claim, that the Marta Police Department had to act. They couldn't ignore it. And so they made a decisive move. They terminated Sergeant Cheryl Clark. She was fired. She lost her job, her badge, her pension, and her status. This was a huge signal to the public. Police departments don't lightly fire their sergeants. Her termination was a clear, institutional admission that her actions at night were not justified. It was the system saying, "We do not condone what you did." But for many of you watching, I know what you're thinking. That's it? She just gets fired? What about criminal charges? And that, right there, is the cliffhanger, the second, even more frustrating twist in this tale. Because while the police department acknowledged wrongdoing enough to fire her, the district attorney's office decided not to press criminal charges. She would not face a trial. She would not be convicted of a crime. She walked away from the justice system a free woman. This is where we have to pause. I want you to really think about this. A man was shot 8 times. The evidence, by all accounts, contradicted the shooter's story. The shooter was fired for her actions, and yet no criminal case was brought against her. How does that happen? What kind of legal reasoning allows for that outcome? This is the central, infuriating question that we're going to tackle in our final part. We're going to dig into the possible reasons behind this decision and ask the tough psychological questions about power, justice, and the two-tiered legal system that this case seems to expose. But before we get to that deep dive, I need you to do something. If this story is making you feel frustrated, if it's making you question the system, then I need you to engage with us right now. Let us know in the comments what you think so far. Do you believe the body camera footage should have been enough for criminal charges? Hit that like button if you think justice was not served in this case. And most importantly, subscribe to CrimeLab Report and click the bell icon because you do not want to miss the final part of this investigation, where we break down the stunning conclusion. The answers, and the even bigger questions, are coming up next. We've arrived at the most perplexing and morally complex part of the Cheryl Clark story, the aftermath. She was fired, but she was never charged with crime. Today, we're going to explore the why. Why did the district attorney's office decide not to prosecute? And what does this decision tell us about the intersection of power, the law, and human psychology? Let's first put ourselves in the shoes of prosecutors. To get criminal conviction, especially for a serious crime like attempted murder or aggravated assault, they need to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. This is the highest standard in our legal system. It's not enough to think someone is probably guilty. You have to be virtually certain. Now, even with damning body camera footage, a defense attorney for Clark would have had several arguments. They would have pointed to her injuries, the bruises and cuts on her face. They would have argued that the initial struggle, the part that maybe happened before the camera was fully activated or from an angle it didn't capture, was violent and that she genuinely feared for her life. They would have painted Clevean Lambert as an ex-convict, attempting to undermine his credibility to a jury. The defense would have worked tirelessly to inject a sliver of reasonable doubt into proceedings, suggesting that maybe, just maybe, her actions were a panic response to a perceived threat, even if they were objectively wrong. And this is the crucial, frustrating point about the American legal system. It is not necessarily about what the public believes is true, or even what seems obviously true from a video. It is about what can be proven in a court of law against a skilled defense. A prosecutor might look at this case and think, we have a strong video, but the defense's arguments about the moments leading up to the video. They have her injuries. They have the victim's background. A jury might not convict. And for a prosecutor, losing a high-profile case is a huge professional setback. So sometimes the calculation is made that it's better not to bring charges at all than to risk a public acquittal. It's a cynical view, but it's a reality of the legal world. This could have been a major factor in the decision to let Cheryl Clark walk free. But let's be honest with each other. That legal explanation feels deeply unsatisfying, doesn't it? It feels like a loophole, an excuse. It forces us to confront some very uncomfortable psychological questions about the people involved and the system that protected one of them. Let's start with Cheryl Clark herself. What was going on in her mind? We know she was in a secret, high-risk relationship. We know she was a person in a position of immense power, wearing a uniform and carrying a gun. Psychologists might talk about the concept of ego threat. When Clevean Lambert rejected her, it wasn't just a personal rejection. It was a challenge to her control. As a police sergeant, she was used to being in charge, to having her commands obeyed. His rejection may have felt like an intolerable act of defiance. The gun, in that moment, may have become the ultimate tool to reassert her dominance, control over a situation and a person she felt was slipping away. This wasn't just a crime of passion. It was potentially a catastrophic abuse of power. And then we have to look at the system itself. The decision not to prosecute sends a chilling message. It tells the public that there is in practice, a different set of rules for those who wear a badge. It creates a perception that an officer can, under the right circumstances, use lethal force to settle a personal dispute and avoid criminal consequences. This erodes the very foundation of public trust. It makes people wonder, if this can happen in such a blatant case, what happens in the ones we never see? The psychological impact on the community and on victims like Clevean Lambert is profound. It tells them that their pain, their trauma, and their quest for justice are secondary to protection of the institution. So where does that leave us? Cheryl Clark lost her career, but she retained her freedom. Clevean Lambert carries the physical and emotional scars of being shot by a lover who was supposed to protect the public. And we, the public, are left with a case study in how justice can be an illusion, a set of moving goalposts that seem to shift depending on who you are. This is why channels like CRIMELAB Report exist. To ask these hard questions, to shine a light in the dark corners of the justice system, and to give a voice to stories that would otherwise be forgotten or swept under the rug. We do this for you, for the community, and for the pursuit of truth. And now, I want to hear from you. This is the part of the video where we have a real discussion. I want you to look deep inside and answer this in the comments. Do you believe that absolute power truly corrupts absolutely? Can the authority of a badge transform a person's moral compass? Or was this a fatal flaw that was always inside Cheryl Clark, waiting to be triggered? And the most important question of all, what true justice would look like in this case? Is her being fired enough? What would bring real closure for you? Your thoughts are vital to this conversation, so please share them below. And if this 3-part investigation has been impactful for you, if it's made you think and question, then support our mission. Help us keep the spotlight on these crucial stories. Hit that like button, subscribe to CRIMELAB Report, and click the bell icon so you never miss our next deep dive. Thank you for watching, and thank you for caring about the truth.